All right, thank you for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers. And I begin with The Punch. Says major headlines here says PDP crisis, aggrieved National Working Committee members protest exclusion from presidential campaigns. Aggrieved National Working Committee members protest exclusion from presidential campaigns. All right. We move now to the front page of the Daily Times. Scorecard, Buhari broke jinx of difficult projects with lean resources. Fashola constructs 6,022 houses, 352.9 kilometers of roads nationwide. Says second Niger bridge completed to open for use of the public soon. Buhari administration's achievements will leave naysayers breathless. Lai Mohammed speaking there as well. All right, we move to this Nigerian newspaper now. Stop harassing youth with laptops. Buhari warns. Signs startup bill as federal government sets up 10 billion naira funds for young innovators. Microsoft to train 5 million Nigerians. All right, to the front page of the Leadership newspaper now. Brain drain in health sector worsens. Nigeria now has one doctor to 10,000 patients, says NIPSS. All of the details on the front page of the Leadership newspaper. Mike?
All right, I have first news here. That's where I'm starting from. Alleged plot to siphon NDDC's 480 billion naira. Senate summons minister. That is what First News has in there. And petition accuses Niger Delta minister of perfecting plans to collect money under guise it will be spent on special projects. That's what First News has. Okay, from there, let's go to the Nation newspaper. The Nation newspaper says how we will fund 10.78 trillion naira budget deficit by minister. As the minister is giving a breakdown there. 7.04 trillion naira expected as domestic loans, 1.7 trillion naira from foreign sources, 1.77 trillion naira multilateral loans. All right, it's a loan all the way. That's what the Nation newspaper has in there. And then let's go to the Blueprint newspaper. Blueprint says 20.5 trillion naira 2023 budget. Nigeria's debt profile hits $102 billion. Fuel subsidy gobs 3.36 trillion naira. All right, 10.7 trillion naira allocated for budget deficit. Federal government to securitize CBN's 20 trillion naira Ways and Means loans. All right, and Bank of America predicts further devaluation of naira. All that you see on the front page of the Blueprint newspaper. And then let's get to Daily Trust. Federal government records 5.33 trillion naira deficit, missed revenue target by 34%. All revenue target dips by 72.9%. To convert 20 trillion naira CBN loans to 40-year bond. All right, subsidy hampering revenue growth, finance minister. All right, it's all about the monies today on most of the front pages of the newspaper. That's Daily Trust. Nigeria News Direct is next, and it says federal government plans 3.3 trillion naira fuel subsidy for 2023 half year. Targets 80% non-oil revenue budget. Right, that's what News Direct has, rather. Now, Business Day is the last one I'm looking at now, and it says flood raise questions over Nigeria's ecological funds. Floods raise questions over Nigeria's ecological funds. Right? Ecological fund, where is it and what is it doing? That's what Business Day is trying to ask. Okay? That's what we have here. Veronica?
All right, before we delve into the papers, we must acknowledge the presence of Super Sam Omashe.
Good morning, it's good to see you. Was there traffic on the way?
I think there was traffic, but I don't know. When I got to the place where the traffic actually was,
You couldn't find anything?
Construction work.
Oh, okay.
Which was unusual.
Okay.
Right, right.
Do construction work at night.
Yes.
Yes.
In part of the way I took yesterday, it was kind of a way of getting. I saw one of the big machines for construction parked by the side. I didn't know that they wanted to work in the night. So taking the place this morning, I was like, wow, this is amazing. The street was just so clear with no potholes.
Perhaps they worked overnight up until this morning, and then they were still trying to do some things this morning.
But I think I like the idea of working in the night. So you just wake up in the morning and then this road is
that's standard practice.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll tell you from particular time to particular time at night. Don't take that road.
Okay.
And they give you alternatives.
Amazing.
All right, let's delve into the papers now. And we're looking at the matter of the budget deficit and the fuel subsidy. And if you look at the Nation this morning and some other papers this morning, perhaps the blueprint, on the front page of the Nation, it says how we will fund the 10.78 trillion naira budget deficit by minister. And the minister has said that they will be doing the funding of the deficit by borrowings, both internationally and locally. And it says 7.04 trillion naira is expected as domestic loans, 1.7 trillion naira from foreign sources, 1.77 trillion multilateral loans from multilateral loans. And when you look at what the finance minister said, that's in person of Zainab Ahmed, she said that the 2023 budget proposal has a deficit of 10.78 trillion. And aside the funding of by other sources, that is borrowing, she also talked about the fact that the fuel subsidy, that is 3.36 trillion naira, that is allocated for fuel subsidy, is for the first quarter of 2023. And though a lot of persons have been talking about our, borrowings have been increased to the level of 1.0 trillion naira, she said that the current public debt is at 23% of the country's GDP. We always talk about the GDP to our borrowing and all of it, but then this is raising concerns.
There's still concern. If you read the editorial of the Nation today about the crude oil theft, the minister said we lose 400,000 barrels a day, and the NNPC MD said it's about 430-something thousand barrels a day. When it's calculated in naira, it's 23 million dollars a day we're losing. When you turn this into naira terms, it means that for the first quarter of this year, we have lost about 5 trillion naira, 4 point something, but let's round it off to about 4.55 trillion a year for the half year, which means that for a full year we from just stealing crude oil, we could have funded this budget.
Right.
You see what that means?
Yeah.
We would have just funded this budget. We wouldn't need to borrow. So this is what corruption and inefficiency and bad governance is leading us. So people are stealing where we could be fat.
Making money.
Where we could be fat. Yeah? No, we know you have the issue of fattening room in the Southeast, where a woman when a woman is supposed to get herself ready. Imagine, you don't have all the fine food that you need to get fat. And somebody is stealing it. And then the woman comes out of fattening room looking thinner than she went there. So that's what's happening. We are stealing. Is that what they call it? It's what they call hemorrhage.
Yes.
We don't have to go and borrow. You just borrow it. it's just baffling. It's baffling.
Really, really
And
bad.
we have not talked about all the other aspects of stealing. You know, somebody took 80 billion. 80 billion, somebody was saying the other day that 80 billion, nobody can steal 80 billion. You don't have to carry 80 billion like cash. Like
Exactly.
It's just by signing your paper and moving.
And the money moves.
I know in the case, during the First Republic, Second Republic, there was this issue about 2.8 billion. What I was missing, $2.8 billion I was missing. And you know, if you calculate, it's even more than 80 billion. Like, cause confusion all over the country.
Right. The issue with those kind of monies, they don't have to move. It is just the identity.
Yes.
The identity has changed.
Yes.
That's what the thing is.
That's what
because
it is.
the moment there is a signature and it tells you either a letter or a document that this money belongs to, it no longer belongs to this person, it belongs to this person.
That's
the money
it.
is in the same place, but the identity has changed just by a document. So it doesn't look like somebody goes into a vault, opens it up, and takes everything and then runs somewhere. No, that's not what happens. It's just the identity of the money. And that is very scary.
It goes away in tranches.
Exactly.
Take 1 billion today, 2 billion tomorrow,
in fact, the moment the identity has changed,
yes,
and it belongs to another person or another corporation or another institution, they can use it the way they want to use it. It is just the right to use the money for something else.
yes.
That's what it is.
Identity changes, but the money doesn't.
But the money doesn't change. The money doesn't even move.
Back to the issue.
Yes, back to the issue. No, it is very scary.
It is the issue, actually.
Yeah,
It's part of
It is the issue. It is the issue.
Exactly.
We are going to borrow money that we have.
We have,
Exactly.
right.
The issue there is, the point there is that it's really scary the way the country is going when it comes to the issue of borrowing and borrowing and borrowing. Now, it's talking like the Nation newspaper puts it. You're going to borrow from domestic sources. Now, what are the domestic sources you borrow from? Sometimes you borrow from banks within the country. You collect from here, collect from here. You know, all the banks, you have an amount of sum you want, and then you spread it amongst the banks. They give you whatever they have to give you. Other times it's from individuals. Other times it's from corporations. Other times, the money is not collected directly. There can be an arrangement where if you are a corporation, you have the wherewithal, and the government has a project. Yeah. You can fund it or you can arrange it, and then, we have an arrangement where either by whatever the thing is, but you are owing, government is owing you the moment you have that kind of an arrangement. Or monies can be taken from CBN on a borrowing basis. You're talking about foreign loans. We have not forgotten World Bank, IMF, the Paris Club, London Club. They are all there. In fact, now they are watching Nigeria. Can we still give Nigeria some monies after all the deficit? Then the other one is the multilaterals.
Yes.
Sometimes when you can't get loans by yourself, you can call another country, 2, 3, 4 countries together, and then you can jointly apply for loans. And then because of the goodwill of some other countries, as the case may be, or because of the demand or necessity they have, and then you join it together, you can access loan in that regard, and then you share the monies or share the resources amongst these countries. Now, the moment it gets to that level, it tells you that there are really dangerous times. And like Sam has said, monies that we are originally should be, in fact, we should be fattened. An average Nigerian per capita should be one of the richest persons on the African continent. But the point there is that this money is going where nobody accounts for it, nobody knows. Nigerians are not going to trust the government by saying, when government says we don't know what's happening. It's not possible. It's not possible. DSS is like omniscience.
Look at the issue of
DSS or even military intelligence, whatever the thing is.
For instance,
yes,
we say you are subsidizing fuel, but much of it is going outside the country.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? We are subsidizing other people's lifestyle while we are getting nothing from it. It's just, they call it voodoo economics, but I don't know whether it is juju economics.
Voodoo and juju is the same. Just semantics of it.
No, you have to localize it. Voodoo is a little...
Okay, it's a little
international.
Juju, a lot of persons will understand what you're saying when it comes to juju economics.
I think it's really scary. But
it is.
And government has to really do something about it. The point there is...
But then perhaps what government will say it is doing is the aspect of checking out those leakages in terms of
Yeah.
oil theft.
Remember when this administration started and they talked about TSA?
Yeah.
If those leaks are actually blocked, Nigeria has more than enough. There is so much resources in this country. The point there is that it's because we don't have the accurate data. But if we have the accurate data, some of the corporations, some of the startups, when they tell you how much they make in a day, you'll be like, really? In this Lagos or in this Abuja or in this Port Harcourt or in this Kano or in this Benue or in this Kogi, whatever the thing is, they make a lot of money. So the point there is that there is so much money, but there are so many leakages that...
It is lack of accountability.
Exactly, that's what the thing
Accountability
is.
at every level. When something goes wrong, it is not only enough to stop it. Then all those people who do it or who have done it accountable so that there is deterrence.
Yeah.
But we don't have a culture of deterrence because there are so many fat cows and sacred cows. So when you keep sacred cows, the sacred cows become fat and fat. And they can't even carry them.
Unfortunately, we have to leave the conversation here now because we need to